Hey, you guys, and welcome back to Study Break. It is so good to be back with you guys. I'm Kiyana Marsh.
I'm Omagu.
And I'm Taylor Macy. If you haven't noticed, our episode looks a little different today, but that seems to be the new normal now.
So we're going to roll with it because
We're Study Break, Fordham's one and only entertainment TV network.
we create
We cover.
and we chat with one another. We want to thank you guys for being here with us, especially considering how stressful and unpredictable this semester has been.
As we move forward with this season, we hope to maintain some sense of normalcy and, more importantly, create fun and interesting content for you guys.
So let's get into it then. So, first off, a little check in. How have you guys been handling this semester?
This semester has been going pretty well. It's definitely different. I think everyone can agree that we're trying to adjust to the new normal. I'm currently living in Walsh Hall with 5 other roommates. It's definitely been a lot of fun. We've been trying to stay safe, stay low, do our classes online, and then the some that we have in person, which is nice to get out there sometimes. So it's been really well. It's been going well.
It's great
Yeah,
to
that's
hear.
good to hear, Taylor. I think I'm kind of in a I'm in a weird position because I'm in a different time zone. I'm currently in Nigeria, so it's been kind of hard adjusting to that, like taking online classes at like a different time. But I'm adjusting pretty well, so I think I'm okay too.
That's so cool, Anae, that you're all the way across the world. I'm just down Hoffman in the Bronx, but it's been pretty great for me. I'm lucky I have my own room because you know how small sometimes these Fordham dorms get. And I've been having some trouble with online classes, but I think in general, this has been a great time to catch up on movies, definitely cook a lot, which has been one of my quarantine hobbies. So it's been good.
Nice.
Now let's address the elephant, or should I say ghost in the room.
It's Halloween in quarantine, baby.
Nice rhymes, Taylor.
Thank you very much.
So Mayor de Blasio is actually letting the New York City kids trick or treat despite coronavirus. So I guess that's giving me peace of mind.
Oh, really? I guess spooky season is going to continue at a 6-foot distance.
Are you guys planning on dressing up still?
So personally, I am. I'm a big Halloween fan. I am super excited. I'm actually going to be Kesha, but I will be staying inside. I will not be going to any parties. I'll keep my social distancing, but you will definitely see pictures up on Instagram. And I'm going to spend the night binge watching scary movies, which I'm definitely super, super excited for. I'm a big horror fan.
I'm so excited to see your pictures on Instagram, Kiyana. I personally probably won't be dressing up. I mean, I may like do like a last minute costume, who knows? But right now, I don't really have any like plans to dress up.
Yeah, I'm actually going to dress up with my roommates. We're all going to be fairies, do kind of like a friend group costume together, and we're just going to like take a lot of pictures, of course. So those will be on Instagram too.
Cute. But regardless, you guys, be extra careful this year because COVID is among us, but also Fordham is notoriously one of the most haunted college campuses in the nation.
Yeah, so if you live in Martyrs or Finlay, you better watch out.
Thank God I live in Walsh.
Okay, so guys, on that note, we're going to segue into something equally as frightening: the election.
Kiyana interviewed Chris Baccia, a political reporter for WFUV, about the political climate we find ourselves in.
Kiyana and Chris, take it away.
Welcome back to Study Break, Chris. We're super happy to have you. So this next election, I think, is going to be the biggest and most memorable one, at least for me. It's the first one I'm actually voting in. I'm super excited, and I'm looking forward to hearing some of your thoughts.
Thanks for having me. Happy to share any thoughts.
Of course. So first question is, what do you think a Biden presidency would look like, specifically in comparison to President Trump's administration and his past administration?
Well, you see the Biden campaign really drawing a contrast with the Trump campaign and the Trump administration on the pandemic. They want to make this election a referendum on Donald Trump, on his character, which is something that you really saw them focus on in the Democratic National Convention back in the summer. But in the home stretch here in the campaign, the Biden camp is really hammering the president on his handling of the pandemic. You have more than 220,000 Americans dead, more than 8% filing for unemployment. So this is crisis in America. If you look at political conventional wisdom in any election, an incumbent will not fare well with a crisis of this proportion. So that, of course, is what the Biden campaign is banking on. What does an administration look like? Well, it would start right there. It would start with a completely different tone about the pandemic. You would see a tone that is more focused on public health measures, stepping up public health measures, perhaps giving more of a microphone to experts and scientists, whereas the president's focus has been more on, well, let's talk about optimism. Let's talk about reopening. Let's talk about how we can return the economy to where it was before the pandemic struck. You see the president talking about China a lot. You see him calling this virus a plague. It's a completely different communication playbook. And of course, we all know that. But how would that look in a Biden administration? Well, it would mirror exactly what you see now in the campaign. Completely different communication. As far as the administration, what it might be able to accomplish, you're looking at 2-3 big laws that it might be able to get passed. I don't imagine that Democrats will be able to take the Senate back. So we're probably looking at a divided government, although they will probably make gains in the House. But in the case of a divided government, you're probably looking at a pretty moderate administration, sort of something that will build off of Barack Obama. Look at healthcare, look at public health, of course. That'll probably be the focus, perhaps infrastructure, but a moderate administration that may even bring a Republican like John Kasich into the cabinet. That's what I would anticipate with the Biden administration.
Okay, interesting. You mentioned a lot about COVID and how that might impact kind of this future election. And in addition, there have been many other controversies, specifically revolving around voting and mail-in ballots, absentee voting, and particularly now the confirmation of Amy Coney Barrett. So my question is, how do you think that this will impact the results of the election?
Well, it's interesting to start with Amy Coney Barrett, who's now Justice Barrett. And the first thing is that she becomes a massive player in this election because the United States Supreme Court may be a massive player in this election. We may see a repeat of 2000, where the United States Supreme Court was the institution that called that election at the end of the day, when they said Florida ballots needed to stop being counted and that state would go for George W. Bush. That, of course, won him the election. We may see similar results this time around, where it's the court that needs to step in and make a decision about balloting. A key decision that comes from a Wisconsin court that was bumped up to the Supreme Court was just made on the 8-justice court, all 5 conservatives together and the 3 liberals dissenting, which said, no, Wisconsin cannot extend its absentee ballot deadline. What does that mean? Well, that means that a state like Wisconsin may not be able to count ballots of people who might send their ballot later. The legislator trying to extend that deadline. You're seeing the same thing in Pennsylvania. But of course, any other decision that comes down, whether before the election, and now we're talking about 3 days before the election, or after the election, now has a Justice Barrett on the court, who we assume is going to be a part of the conservative bloc. So big impact is sort of the bottom line. As far as what's on voters' minds, well, normally conservatives poll as being more interested, more motivated, enthusiastic by the court. So the president, it's probably his prime accomplishment, his prime conservative accomplishment, that is getting 3 justices on the Supreme Court, in Neil Gorsuch, Brett Kavanaugh, and now Justice Barrett. So this is something he's going to run on. If he's smart, he'll focus on it because it will be something that conservatives will be enthusiastic about. Democrats also have seen Republicans play real hardball with the court. Does that motivate them to get out? Potentially. It potentially does. And on your point on absentee ballots, I'll finish by saying there are really 6 battleground states in this election, 6 states that we have to keep our eye on. And it starts in the Midwest: Michigan, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, and then the Sun Belt: Florida, Arizona, North Carolina. The president needs the latter 3 in his column, almost definitely needs to win all 3 of those states, needs them to stay red. But of course, there are states that Joe Biden will look to flip. Mm-hmm. The thing about those 3 states is they should be able to process enough ballots on election day because they have expedited processes, especially Florida, because of what it went through in 2000. They have laws such that they're able to process these ballots and get this process done potentially on election night. So we should know the results out of those states on election night. What that means is if Vice President Biden wins a Florida, for instance, you may be able to say that he's in a strong position to win the election. Now, if Donald Trump can hold Florida, hold Arizona, hold North Carolina, then it looks like we're going to be talking about these three Midwestern states again, which of course all flipped to Donald Trump last time. And of course, the entire campaign of Joe Biden is focused on flipping those three states again. You saw President Obama in Michigan this week, and they're just hammering the Rust Belt. Thing about those three states, they take a long time to process ballots. We may be waiting days or weeks to know how they come down after November 3rd. So it's very possible, I would say even likely, that we don't know the election results because of massive absentee ballot turnout. You have more than 60 million as of Tuesday who have already voted.
Yeah, so on the kind of topic of actual results, President Trump has made multiple comments implying that he wouldn't step down if he does not win the next election. So what do you think would happen if this were the case?
Well, it's almost likely that you'll see court battles. Pennsylvania, I just mentioned, is one where we may see the United States Supreme Court stepping in to make a decision on how many ballots they can count. If it comes down after the election, that means you may be disenfranchising voters. You may be literally throwing out ballots that have been cast past a deadline. So this will all be very interesting. It will almost certainly go to the courts. And of course, liberals will be worried about the fact that this is a solidly conservative court. But this is the institution that Americans trust above all others. So is it possible that if the president contests the results of the election, that it's the United States Supreme Court that ultimately makes decision? Yeah, it is. And it's also possible that that court would rebuke the president if it needed to. That's something that I trust to happen. If the president makes a claim that isn't true, that doesn't come out of nowhere. He's sort of given us reason to anticipate that by his own public comments. That could happen. What I know is that both parties have hundreds of lawyers and the best lawyers in the country ready for an all-out legal brawl, the likes of which would rival what we saw in 2000. So it's something that could absolutely happen. It's something that we need to be ready for. You would see some very tough politics in an already very divided country. This election figures to be close.
Mm-hmm. And it seems that way, and all of that kind of seems so large, but on a smaller, more personal level, how can students remain politically active in kind of an effective and accessible way?
It's a good question. Well, first of all, vote. That would be absolutely number one. Vote, vote, and vote. But talk to people. I think that's the most important. But more than talking to people who agree with you, which you may find to be the case in your own family or among your own friends, talk to people who don't agree with you. Talk to people who are not going to vote the same way. The beauty of the American ideal is that we can disagree and still be friends, still be family. You've seen that change in America in a large way. You've seen that change by the data, but I think we've all felt that in America, where somebody with whom we disagree takes on sort of a personal status. As it becomes personal, these politics, because politics are personal. But talk to people, get out to the polls, vote early, look up down the ballot would be also key. You know, everyone has their eyes on the presidential race, but you have city elections in 2021, for instance. Look at the prosecutors, look at these important races that affect your daily life. And that's ultimately what I would say.
Okay. So everybody, make sure you go out and vote. Chris, thank you so much for coming on to Study Break.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Awesome. Thank you guys for that.
Wherever you fall on the political spectrum, it's important to stay informed and engaged.
You're completely right, Anae, and that's why it is so important for each one of you to make sure you go out and vote on Tuesday and make your voices heard. So now something on a little bit of a lighter note, we're going to actually be following Anae around for a day for our new Day in the Life series, where we're going to follow a different Fordham student every single episode from their respective walks of life and see how they're handling online classes and COVID.
I'm super excited for this. Roll clip, please.
Hi, my name is Anna. I am the co-producer for Study Break, and this is a day in my life. So I woke up at 2 and got changed, and the next clip is from right before my first class. It is 2:58 p.m. Yes, I'm currently in Nigeria, and so I'm kind of staying up late and waking up late to adjust for the time zone difference, so that I can, make it to class and also have like meetings in the evening and stuff like that. So yeah, I woke up at 2 and I'm about to have class, so let me log into class. So this is me in class, taking notes, trying to be a serious student, trying my best despite the fact that classes are all online and I get very distracted very easily. And then this is me riding my bike outside of my house. I try to go outside like at least a couple times a day just so I can, get some exercise in and breathe some fresh air and stop being stuck at home all the time. So it's currently 6:54 p.m. I have a class starting at 7:30 and I need to do some work before my class, which is why I'm back here. So yeah, I wish my day was more interesting and exciting, but it's pretty boring. And this is me in my second and final class of the day, also attempting to be a serious student somewhat and pay attention and get some good work done. Okay, so I just finished class, so I'm done for the day. What time is it? It's 8:46 p.m. Ooh, I want to give an update on the NSAS protest. So I did a story on Study Break Stories, where I kind of talked about like what's been going on in Nigeria with the NSAS protests. So you can definitely check that out. And this is just an update. So last week, like Tuesday last week, so 1 week from today, the day I'm filming this anyway, peaceful protesters were shot in one of the protest locations, which is actually nearby my house. And since then, they instituted a curfew for the next few days, so no one really went out from like Tuesday to Friday. Like we were kind of on lockdown. And yeah, as a result of everything that's happened, currently the protests in Lagos where I live have stopped, but the protests are still happening in other parts of the country where it's safer to go protest. And protests are also happening abroad by Nigerians in the diaspora. So the movement is still very much continuing. It's just that it's not really happening. Like in Lagos right now, people just aren't on the streets because it's just not safe to go out on the streets anymore. But yeah, that's just an update on what's been happening. So this is our Zoom meeting for the study break episode that you're watching right now. So this is the end of my day. I'm probably going to get some more work done and then sleep, so nothing particularly new or interesting. So yeah, thank you for following me my day along. I'm excited to see everyone else's day in the life. Bye!
That was so cool, Nay. Thank you for sharing. I think one of the coolest parts of online classes is hearing about all of my different peers' home lives.
And the best part is you can all be featured in our new A Day in the Life series. Just follow at Fordham_study_break and slide into our DMs for a feature.
We're always looking for new people to join our team, whether you're interested in editing, writing, hosting, production. We have something for everyone.
So that's it for this episode. Keep an eye out for episode 2 in the coming weeks. We're aiming to make this the best season yet.
Until next time, when we'll create, cover, and share with one another once again. Stay safe, happy, and healthy, everyone. Bye.